this is a test to see if I am actually... Am I live? I think I might be live. Okay, so yes, hello everybody. Welcome to this live stream. It's going to be an interesting one today, and the first time I've done any live streaming like this in quite some time, actually. So this is Ty Everett. I am the founding president of Project Babbage. I'm just going to get this out of here, the streaming software, and I believe that I am live on the air. It sure looks like that anyways, so I'll just tab back over to here what I was looking at. So this is building on Babbage, and what I want to do in this live stream is something a little bit new and unique. How do I share this? How do I get it so that people can actually see me while I'm live here? Let's go ahead and grab a link if I can. How do I do any of this stuff? I have never done this. Well, I have done this actually, but it's been a bit of a while. So let's just set a stream title. Let's go ahead and say building building AI chatbot. All right. Okay. I think that might be. I think that might be enough. And what I want to do is create a system for making a chatbot that people can actually interact with and customize and make their own. So you'll see what I mean as we build it here. I have an idea in my mind, and we'll see how everything goes. Let's go ahead and grab the actual link so I can share this on a couple of different places. Let's go to my YouTube, and maybe it'll show me that I'm live. I don't know. How do I do this? Your videos is going to show me where I'm live. No, maybe not. So I want to figure out how to. I want to figure out how to get the link to this live stream. Ah, here I am. Yes. Okay. Good. I think this is all right. I'm going to pause that because otherwise it'll create a bunch of latency. I believe I have the chat open here, so I should be able to say hello everyone, and I should also be able to copy this and say, oh, by the way, I'm live, so I'll go on Twitter. Well, okay, I don't want to do that. I want to send out a tweet and say, live now, building a BSV NFT. Well, it's going to be a BSV chat bot that NFT marketplace for custom AI chatbots personalities. Okay, so I'll leave a link. And so, yeah, it's going to be a little NFT marketplace built on Babbage technologies for a marketplace. So I'll tweet this out, and I'm also going to grab this and I'll put it up on a couple of chat systems. So I think I can be a little bit more, okay, so I should be a little bit conscious of, I need to know how to, for example, you know, I can put up, if I want to blank out my, I think this one is blank. Right, so if I blank out my screen, it's because I'm on an interface that I don't necessarily want to make as public. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this tweet and we'll see. I'm going to share it in a few different places so that people know that I'm actually live at the moment. Let's go ahead and just click here and say okay, let's just tweet, let's send that off to there. And I think that should be good enough. All right, we'll see if I get any views on here. I need to unblank the screen now, so I'll go ahead and bring it back to this screen. I think that's how I want to do it. And I'll leave this open so I have my chat and I can see if there's any viewers or anything. So right, this is my control panel. It looks like. Bear with me because I've never actually done anything like this. So just oh, interesting. I can get the interesting. All right. Well, I think it's all. I'll edit the title again to maybe provide some more information. So I'm building a BSV NFT marketplace for AI chatbots, and the stream uses Project Babbage tools to build an AI chatbot NFT. Now, what is an AI chatbot NFT marketplace? That sounds like a bunch of buzzwords. Well, it's actually an idea that I've had for a while. Let's go ahead and start with just some high-level architecture and specifications so that we know what we're going to be building. So I want to open up a text edit document here, and I'm going to go ahead and start speccing out what I believe to be an AI chatbot NFT marketplace. So the NFTs are chatbots. So users can make your own AI chatbots with unique personalities. They can buy and sell chatbots on the marketplace. And there is only one instance. Oh, there's only one instance or owner at a time. So these chatbots are like individuals. You can't make a copy of an individual. Well, these NFTs, which you can buy and sell them, you can make your own like NFTs. And then the other key thing is that buying a chatbot will not reveal how it was trained. So we're going to make it really easy for people to make their own chatbots and train them up in custom ways, give a name and maybe a little photo so they have a little personality. And I'll show how we're going to do that. We're going to use the OpenAI APIs. Today is March 1st, 2023. And as of March 1st, 2023, OpenAI has just released their API for building these chatbot things. So we're going to check it out. I have never used this API. I don't think anybody really has, unless you use it today already. So we'll see if we can't build a BSV-based marketplace for training up chatbots and selling them to one another on the system, right? So let's go ahead and open up a Visual Studio terminal here, and we'll start coding up this BSV chatbot. I want to open a new project, so actually I'm going to figure out how to do all of these things from scratch. So just bear with me here. Let's go back over here. I'm going to go to the, oops, yeah, let's go to the terminal. I don't need this right now. And I'm just going to go to my projects folder, and I'm going to make a directory, and we'll call this maybe we'll call it chatbot. Bot crafter, is that a common thing? I don't know if that's already a thing. We'll just call it bot crafter, and if bot crafter is already a thing, then we'll go ahead and, actually I like bot craft. Well, bot craft is too close to Minecraft. It is shorter. We'll go with bot crafter for the name of our little system here, and make a directory for the front end and make a directory for the back end, and then open up a Visual Studio Code project. So here we are. Here we are with this new project for what we're going to be doing. And let's go ahead and now start to extend out this idea with some base classes and some pseudocode, so that we can actually start to design this system. And then we'll get into the details of how it's going to work. So in the back end, I want to initialize a little back end. I think that worked. So in the back end, I should now have a package, and I want to also install Express body parser and OpenAI. Those are the main things. Yeah, just some basic web server stuff. So I can start by writing some code. I do need to make a Git repository. Some basic things, like we do with our code project. So ignore node modules, right? And let's go ahead and make an src directory in this backend. And now why is that not node underscore? That should be correct, right? All right, we're ignoring node modules, perfect. And inside here, index.js, and here we just basically build Express as a library for making HTTP servers, and I'm just requiring it to bring it in here. So importing these two libraries and then making an Express, telling the Express app to use JSON, and we're going to listen on port, we'll listen on port 4444. And just say, listening. Okay, so our routes are going to go in here. We're going to grow this application organically. So we'll start from one file and then it'll get bigger. But let's go ahead and node. Let's actually add a script. So I'll just add a start script so I can say npm run start when I want to start this. And so the script for start in the package file is going to say something like node src/index.js. So let's go ahead and now run the start script. And we're listening on 4444. That's simple, right? So we'll stop it for now. And so yeah, that's the basics of how this is going to work. I want to see if there's any people in the chat system. Looks like nobody is yet, so I'll go ahead and tab back over to this. And what I want to do is we just need to get to a place where we have a firstly, I want to get to a place where we have a working chatbot, right? So I want to be able to talk to some chatbot of some kind. If we can get there, that'd be great. Okay, that's the first goal, and then we'll add the ability for people to have their own chatbots and customize them and add the training parameters to them, and then we will go from there with the marketplace and allowing them to be exchanged. So let's go ahead and use the OpenAI API, and I think I've installed this. So yes, I can set up a configuration. I need to make an env file, so I'll do this now and figure out my OpenAI API key. So I'm just going to make an env and say OpenAI API key equals, and I'll just give it some value for now, and I'll put that in later when we actually go to test it. All right. So I also want to ignore my env from gitignore because we don't want to put those in to GitHub. So gitignore the env, and I also need .env. So npm i.env, and that's how you actually take the thing and put it in. So you can say require .env .config. And now we have process.env, and we have the .env file. So what I want to do is look at the example for how to use the OpenAI API, right? And that way we can actually access it inside of this context. So I can grab the import statements for OpenAI stuff, and I'll just put them up at the top. So requiring OpenAI, and I don't like semicolons. Some people like semicolons. I'm not one of them. So you make a configuration, process.env.openAI API key, and now you have your OpenAI instance. Okay. So there's a new function that was added, I believe, called OpenAI.createChat completion. And you pass in some value to it, and that's how you actually get the new thing. So let's just say const response equals await, and now we need an async function because we're just doing a test here, right? We're going to try to get something out of this API at the beginning. So I want to put a semicolon at the beginning here. Of course, my code is fighting with me. And we'll invoke our immediately invoked function async, right? So response is await OpenAI. And you know what? I should actually post on my own chat server that I'm live, just in case anybody from my team or anywhere else wants to watch this. So I'm going to go to, I want to go to the blank one, and I'll just go ahead and grab that link once more and just let everybody know that I'm live on here. So just pardon me for a second as I post these links everywhere at the beginning here. All right, so there we are. And we'll go back up. So yeah, the first goal is going to be to get something out of this library, right? I need to get my API key from OpenAI as well. So maybe I should do that really quick while I have this up. I think it's Now, where did I get that? I remember getting it from somewhere. I think it was platform. Is my screen back up? Yes, it is. Okay. So I'll just go to my OpenAI platform, I think it's called. And then I should be able to grab my API key, get OpenAI API key. And so where do I find my secret API key? Okay, so I'm just going to user settings. Maybe I should, I'm just going to go ahead and hide my screen once again so that I can grab this, and I'll put it into the env file and make sure not to open that up on the stream, because I don't want to necessarily leak my my secret API key, right? Oh, can I not grab it out of here? Oh, I guess I can make another one. All right, so I've just made another key, and I'll go ahead and drop that into my env file. And I'll close out of my env file and make sure not to open it up. And I'll close out of my browser there so that I don't reveal my OpenAI API key on the live stream, because that wouldn't be ideal, would it? So let's go ahead and go back here. And what I want to do is grab an example of something that works, just so that I can test it, right? I want to try to run something that I can just, see that it's working. So I'll just run this completion or whatever the example code is, hello world, and we're running this on the Text DaVinci model. This is like not even a chat thing, it's just an OpenAI thing. So let's just run start and let's see what happens. So is this going to work? It looks like we get something. Output, wait, what? Listening on, explanation point, / output. Oh, I see. So it's telling me, all right, let's have it like tell a little bit of a story or something, just to test it. So I'll say, once upon a time there were 3, and we'll go ahead and run it here, and it says, little pigs. They each decided to build a house, one made of straw. Right. So now we're getting some output from the AI, and that's kind of the beginning here, isn't it? We can make the AI now produce some output, and that's what we want. So the challenge is we need to hook this up to a web server. We need to make it into a chatbot and not just an AI. We need to do a lot of things. So I need to experiment a little bit. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never used this before. I've used ChatGPT like lots of other people, but I've never actually used the OpenAI API like this. So what I want to try to do is create completion. I think there's a create chat completion, if I'm not mistaken. Create chat completion. And I think the model is GPT 3.5 Turbo, which is the one that was just released today on March 1st. And I think here you provide messages, but I don't know. So messages, and then I saw, because I read the docs a little bit earlier, and I think you can say something like, well, this is where I have to really look at, right, saying this, you provide create completion, you can provide these things. So where's the docs, right? Where's my actual where's my actual docs? Do I get docs? Did you write docs, guys? Docs? Wait, let's see. The OpenAI Node.js library provides convenient access to the API. Most of the code in this library is generated from our Open API specification. Important note, this library is meant for server-side usage only. Right. Of course, you wouldn't want to do that. You'll proxy it, right? And then, have a way of buying and selling, monetizing your usage of their API, like we're going to do with BSV. So, right. Okay, so I think I just need to look at the Open API specification, but I want to see, I don't really, I'll look at this, but okay, Node. Oh, you're using Python to make a Node script because everybody in this world uses Python. See, I'm very new to this machine learning world where everything is just Python. I very much use Node, and so we'll have to do some experimentation. I'm just going to try this messages because I don't know what I'm doing, but data.choices sub0.text. I think that looks about right, but I think it was where did I read about this? I read about this on their platform docs. So the platform docs are here. Yeah, this is what it was. So the chat completions, and it's saying that I can say model and messages, so you get role and then you get content. So if I pass in an array of messages, each with role of, so the first one will be system, and the content will be you are a let's do a we'll just say you are a helpful assistant, right? So the system is telling the chatbot that it is a helpful assistant, and then role user content, and we'll just pass in I don't know, write a song about Bitcoin SV, because I'm sure that nobody in the world has asked OpenAI to write a song about Bitcoin SV. Now we'll run this and see what the output is. I think it might, let's see. Okay, is it going to write a song about, I get undefined. Interesting, but I didn't get an error, I don't think. So I'll turn this off. Okay, let's see, console.log, but sub0 wasn't undefined, so I can just see what the object is. So have it write another song about Bitcoin SV. Okay, I like this. What's happening? Did it actually write a song about, oh, it totally did. Okay, this is great. We now have the chatbot stuff working. So the AI part is plugged in. Listening on port 444. So role assistant, content, verse 1. In a world of digital cash, Bitcoin SV is the new. Okay, so yes, it's writing. It did write a song. That's great. So now we have the chatbot working. And we've all seen ChatGPT, so I won't delve into detail about this. But yes, it appears to have written a song about Bitcoin SV. I don't know if the song is accurate because I don't know if the data that these things have been trained on about BSV specifically is, accurate due to the industry that we find ourselves in and some of the people, social consensus, etc. But this does appear. So I want to look at a couple things. Firstly, I want to look at what is the variable name here. So this is .message.content. So result sub0.message, which is an object, and then it has .content on it. So I don't know how much they are. So there's also some configuration parameters I think you can pass in. I want to figure out how to do the max tokens thing really quick, and I want to change my prompt. Let's just go ahead and say, write a song. Let's tell it to do something a little bit. The answer to 3 times 8 is right. And now hopefully it doesn't provide me as many tokens in my answer, and it maybe doesn't burn through as many of my API credits. I don't think these things are as costly, but I do think that they are, somewhat. I don't know. So I can provide. How can I tell it about my? I've read this document through here, right? Chat versus completions. It's telling people to use the new one instead of the old one because it's way cheaper, which is true. So now we got a little chat bot thing that appears to be working to some extent. Okay, let's go ahead and hook this up to a front end maybe, so that we can now use our custom chatbot with a front end. So in our web server, we set up a web server up here. Wait, where was it? I don't know where it is. It's down here. Okay. So yeah, now we can just make an API endpoint. App dot, I don't know, post / chat and rec res, and we'll make it async so we don't need to do the whole immediately invoked thing any longer. And I'm just going to grab all this code because it's useful, right? So I can just bring this up here, put it inside of this function, and now we have a completion, and I can just replace this with res.status200.json, and I'll just provide an object with text, which has the actual text in it. And I believe I can now, right. So the text from this chatbot is now going to be sent here, and I can now take rec.body, and this is going to be the prompt or the query, right? So I'll just say rec.body dot something or other dot input, right? So the input from this is going to go into this chatbot, and that's going to return back to the user some value for the chatbot. Okay, that is now a prototype for a backend. Okay, so I can now just run this, and eventually I'll put nodemon in. But now I'm going to switch to front end, right? Because this is the back end side, and the back end side is basically now going to be able to use this chat interface thing properly through the OpenAI. So I'm collapsing this. We have nothing in the front end yet, so let's go ahead and get started with. We have this server running over here. I'm going to make a new terminal, and I'm just going to bring in front end packages. So let's go ahead and go front end get status. I need a repo. Remote. Oh, I don't need to do remote yet. So we're just going to say, I don't know, npm init dot. Is it dot or just init? I think it's that. Yeah, sure. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that seems to have worked. I have some code that is open source that I would like to use for this. Actually, on second thought, I don't want to. So the reason why is because in today's world of, well, web development, things change really quickly. So I just want to clone a repo that's open source, and the reason why I do this is because do I have anything? Yeah, so there's this thing called Ninja UI. It's just a little basic React front end. It has like a Webpack file in it. See all the things it has here, and this is a lot. I would rather focus on the I don't want to set up Webpack. I don't want to set up all that stuff. I want to move on to the actual front end code. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to remove the front end, and I'm just going to git clone Ninja UI. I'm going to then adapt this. Oh, is that wrong? Right, there we are. I'm going to adapt this code for my needs. So I'm going to move it from Ninja UI to a directory called front end, cd front end, rm tech rf, git, right? Git init dot. Okay. All right. So basically what I've just done is I've made this front end part here. I'm going to modify this. I don't need a bunch of this. If I ever want to deploy this, maybe I do need this GitHub thing. But, what did I call this project? Chat? Bot Crafter. That's what it was. Bot Crafter UI. So that might change. There's some things like that. But realistically, I don't need most of this, is what I'm saying. So, I'll just go through here, and I don't need banner. I don't need redirects. I don't need, there's just some basic web stuff like index.html. I don't need to do this right now. I think I can do that, it's not terribly important. So it's just making a web front end. There's a Docker component. Really? Why do we need Docker? Docker, I guess it's useful. I don't know. Some people, anyways, I'll just delete some things that I know are not necessary, because this is a specific app that is not needed. 0.3. Anyways, right. So I have these UI libraries, which I will keep because, I don't need these ones though. So material UI, I don't need app finder. I don't need these BSV libraries yet. I'm going to install the Babbage and actually the sort of front end libraries for doing the NFT marketplace side of this later. I'm not going to do that yet. So don't need. Is Boomerang useful? Maybe I'll keep Boomerang because I think that's going to be useful for the API stuff. React router, these things will keep. I don't need these cryptography things, and I don't need any of that stuff yet, right? So just putting together a basic Webpack project so that, right, and I could have used some starter, but I just know this code base a little bit better, so I'm going to use this one for building this, and this is going to be called Bot Crafter UI. So, right, icons, material, all this stuff is here. And now let's go ahead and delete some of the stuff that's not actually necessary any longer. So I just want to do a basic thing. I want a front end that can talk to my back end that I just built that does the AI part. So do I need theme? I think I do need theme because this is a MUI project, isn't it? All right, I don't need that. Okay, so basically index is going to pull in this stuff and render it. App is going to do some. Okay, we have welcome. I think we'll have a welcome page in pages. And, text, what is that? Yeah, so that's going to be welcome. A not found page. Fair enough. All this stuff is very basic web stuff for React, so I'm just going to keep it. I don't want to rewrite it again on the stream, so I'd rather just. All right, new folder is going to be for pages, and new file is going to be welcome.js. Is it JS or JSX? See, I never know with these it's just. I'm just going to do .js. Okay, so import React from React and having a export default. I'll remember it. Let's think. Welcome. and then we make welcome. It's been a little while actually. Equals, and this is going to be a functional component that's going to return a div, and so inside of here it's just going to say h1 welcome for the time being. Okay, that's like the most basic thing. Okay, so that's all just basic front-end setup. I should be able to install these dependencies, the ones that I left behind, and I should be able to build and run my front end. And then I'll add the ability to talk to this backend, which is sitting over here waiting for, you know, the AI, so we can talk to the AI sort of chatbot thing. And before long, we'll have a database on the back end that can store these chatbot personality NFTs and then allow them to be transferred among users of Babbage and bought and sold on a marketplace. That's kind of where we're going with this, for those who don't know yet. Let's go ahead and, so if I say start, this should open up my web browser, okay? And it should show me welcome. And if I've done that properly, then I can move on. Okay, yep, there's welcome. That means I've done my chatbot thing properly. Or not the chat. I've done the front end, right? I got my front end to work. So I probably want to commit this actually, because this is like a useful thing to have. I don't know, like anytime I want to make a front end, I'll probably need to do something similar to this. So maybe anytime anybody ever needs a front end, they can just, I don't know, use something like this. Initial commit. I can't push it, but I have that committed now, and so now like that's a base for just pretty much any front end. There's some useful tools. They, you know, Webpack is set up properly. Anyways, all right, let's actually go into the chat stuff. Let's make this API work. So I want Boomerang for making HTTP requests. And I want to, we're going to need a state variable for the text set text. This is all very basic at the moment. Equals. So my coding philosophy is basically we should make it as simple as we can for as long as we can, unless we're doing something where you have a whole bunch of preset requirements. And so because this is just like a free form thing that I'm doing myself without really any structure yet or hard and fast plans, I think this is the best way to go about building the initial. So you take a URL, that's going to be local host, and it's going to be /chat, I believe. Wait, Boomerang is method URL, that's what it was. I knew I was missing something. Post, yeah, so we'll definitely change this as time goes on. And I think it was input, and that's going to come from text. Okay, so we got that. Response is that, and then set result response.message, was it? Response.text, right? So app.js, which has this, the welcome page, has response.text as a way to, and that's await, yep, async await. Okay, so that's just gonna happen when the page loads. Why did I put that in a use effect? It doesn't need to be in a use effect. Be handle send. So there's the async function for that. And we need another variable for the result. So there's going to be two things. I want typography and text field. from Material UI. And I'll now go down here and I'll just say text field, and it's going to be, oh no, actually typography first. Typography. Result. Put whatever was in result on the screen. Text field, right, and so this is going to be on change equals handle change, or what did I call that? Handles, no, that's not good. On change equals e arrow set text e target value. So we'll say whenever the text field changes, and then value equals text. Whenever the text field changes, update the text variable to be whatever is in the new thing that just changed. Okay. And label equals message for now. And then I want a button, and on click equals handle send. And this is just going to say send. All right, so in theory, when we type something into that text field and click that button, it should allow the AI to respond to whatever was in the text field. That is the theory. Okay, let's see about in practice, because these are how these things really go. Welcome to the real world, everybody. Uncaught reference error. Use state is not defined. Very, very, very fair enough. Okay, so let's add use state. And reload. What is the next one? Uncaught reference error. Result is not defined. Uh-oh. What are we going to do about this? Response? Oh, result is not defined. Where's result? R-E result. All right, perfect. Yep, fair enough. Reload again. Do we see it yet? Nope, not yet. Uncaught reference error. Button is not defined. Once again, fair enough. Let's add button and go over here. All right, now we see it. So let's type something. Hello, AI, are you sentient? Send. And what happened? Uncaught in progress, type error, failed to fetch. Localhost 4444 chat, and that failed. And if I go to the, it's trying to, right. It's trying to fetch and it didn't, so maybe the server crashed or something. Let's see. Nothing really on the server that would indicate a problem. Let's go to the network tab and see what happened with the actual request. So it looks like when we clicked on that, we sent out chat and we sent it with input, hello AI, are you sentient? And it, and of course the AI is not sentient. I don't want anybody going in the chat and saying, you know, starting a whole big ruckus about how AI isn't really sentient, because I know it's not sentient, but you know, it's whatever. I'm just trolling. So it sent back and it got it didn't get a response. Why didn't it get a response? This is a options request or what? Do I have to grab my? I probably have to grab a like a sort of a handler for options requests. So I should probably get the cross origin stuff out of the way at the beginning. So I'm just gonna go into some code here and grab, oh, I don't know, I want to grab the cross origin resource sharing handler for this stuff, right? app.options. Right. Let's just go ahead and grab this because I just want to use it over here. Shouldn't be that difficult. So index in the back end here. There is this, and save and stop and start. and send off the request once again by refreshing the page and then typing in the message again. Hello AI, are you sentient? And I believe the correct answer will be no. So it sent something off. This time it's pending. And now we get a response from the chatbot. As an AI language model, I do not possess sentience or consciousness, but I can understand and appropriately respond to your queries or requests using natural language processing technology. And there we have it. That is the very, very first little bit of building an AI chatbot NFT marketplace, where we are now having a front end that can send a request to a server and talk to the chatbot. So I'll be right back. I'm just going to get some water, and then we will proceed with the next section. All right. So now we have a little front end that we can use to talk to the chatbot, right? But we need to make an architecture that allows for the creation of different chatbots, and we need to do it in a way that allows us to build this marketplace and like transfer chatbots. So like in the database, the chatbots, what are they, for one? How do you train them? We need to get into all this stuff, right? So we have now a chatbot that we can just talk to, kind of. That part isn't even fully there because, when you look at this, it's when you look at what this is doing, it doesn't even make use of this entire array of messages. So what we really want is a way to have people start building this chatbots with personalities, right? So this is me telling the chatbot what its personality is, but when we have a sort of a pre-trained chatbot, like we want to be able to create, like we want users to be able to train their own chatbots and then sell them as NFTs, and they're one-off. You don't get to know how it was trained just by buying it. So they each have their own unique little, how random are they? How all these different things, right? So little attributes of the chatbot's personality. And we want all that to be configurable. So we need to now start to define a way to let users train their own, or like create a new chatbot. Like if I as a user want to create my own chatbot and then use it again later, how do I do that? So let's think, there's a lot of different functionality that we need to build here. Let's go back to the text edit so I'll close out, this is text edit, yeah. So this is kind of the requirements, right? So users need to create a chatbot with parameters, right? They need to be able to list their own chatbot. They need to be able to use chatbots they own, send a chatbot NFT to another user. Really, list a chatbot NFT, list a chatbot they own on the marketplace, list bots for sale on the marketplace, and buy their own bot, buy a bot that is listed for sale. Okay, that's the functionality that we need. We need these, like, what are these, 7 or so endpoints, API routes, so that 6 of them, so that users can interact with the system, right? So users want to be able to create a chatbot. They list their own chatbots, use a chatbot they own, list a chatbot they own on the NFT marketplace, list the bots that are for sale on the marketplace, and then pay for a bot that is on the marketplace. So they can then buy it and use it as their own chatbot, right? Like, so it's one of theirs. So how are we going to accomplish all of this? I think the first couple of questions are actually a little bit easier to do than like creating a chatbot. Like, what does that mean? How do you create your own chatbot in this context? Let's go ahead and think about this. So this is going to expand. This backend code is going to expand, and it's going to be a little bit more than it is right now, because I don't want to deal with. I like clean code. I really do, even though the people who work with me may not have the same definition of clean code as I do. So I want to make a storage engine, and I'm going to do it. I have not done these in a while, and people who I don't need a constructor, do I? Wait. People who work with me are probably gasping that I'm using object-oriented programming. I don't even know if you need a constructor when you don't want to do any of this stuff. I just want to have a function so we can start to figure out, okay, so what I'm going to do is make a temporary in-memory storage engine. That's an object. Okay, and these are going to be, oh, I don't know. I want bots, users, and messages. Okay, so bots, users, and messages. That's my storage engine. Okay, so when I make a, it's like public. No, I don't know how to do this. It's create bot. What does it mean when you create a bot? So you pass in some parameters, and we're going to say, oh, wait. What am I doing? What am I doing? In-memory storage engine. In-memory storage engine means that this is all actually going to be in the constructor. So then you say this dot, right? I forgot about this. This dot bots equals empty array equals empty array, right? So, all right, I have not done object-oriented in a while. So when you create a new bot, you give it a name, a tagline, or we'll call it a tagline for the bots. Like, what is your motto if you're a bot? We'll call it a motto. That's better, because each bot gets a little motto. And then importantly, you give it a set of messages. And the messages are how you actually interact with how you actually make the bot unique, train it. So you get a name, a motto, and some messages. So this dot bots dot push, and we'll say name, motto, messages. Okay. Now we have a little function that says create a chatbot. And also we need an ID. So we're in Node.js. So we'll just say the ID of the bot is, we'll acquire crypto.random bytes, 12.2 string, hex. Okay, random ID. So your bot, when you create it, it's got a name, a motto, some messages, which are training messages, and an ID. Maybe these should be called training messages. Because that's how you train your bot, is you tell it some training messages. So because we're doing this very abstractly like this, we get to define the business logic however we want. Eventually, I'll throw a database server up and make this go online and all that, but not today. Not on this one. Maybe in a different one. I don't know. So we've got this create bot function, and this is how we're going to create a personalized chatbot. And I guess each user has bots, right? Do we need users? Like, what is the purpose of users in the system? I guess if you're a user of the system, so we would want to create a user, and so because of the system that we're going to use for creating users, we're going to have identity keys, which is how a user of the application is created. And we're going to have, what else is required to create a user? I don't think anything else. I mean, we'll just give a name. You can have a name. So you get a name and you get your identity key. And the reason why is because then you could say like created by and whatever else, right? So the identity key of the user is here, and we can just say this.users.push and identity key and name, right? So you create a user. There we go. Create user, create bot. We'll need a does user exist. So these are all right. And you pass in the identity key and you learn whether the user exists. So given the user's identity key, return this.users.sum x where x dot identity key is equal to the identity key, right? So if that happens, then we can check whether the user exists with a given identity key. And that'll all get really relevant really quickly in a second. So we've got a way of creating users, checking whether they exist, and then creating bots. Okay? And the creator of a bot has a place here as well. Creator is going to be the identity key of the person who created the bot. And so I'll just copy that into the bot as well. So that way we have a way of tracking the identity keys of the person that created a bot. And we're also going to say the owner of the bot is the creator. So when a bot first gets created, its owner is the person who created it. Okay? And now we can start to think of some higher level functionality. So things like, what did we talk about? A user wants to exist. Well, let's think. Exit. A user wants to exist. They want to create a chatbot with parameters. That's done. They want to list their own chatbots. Chatbots. List their own chatbots. Okay? So how is this going to work in our storage engine here? So list own bots. And so the user who is listing the bots has an identity key, right? And we're just going to return this.bots.filter x where x dot owner identity key equals the identity key of the user who wants to list, right? So list the bots that I have, okay? So now I have the ability to create and list bots. The way to use a bot, that's going to be a little bit trickier. So to use a bot, we'll go ahead and we'll need to think of messages in this context, conversation IDs, things like that, right? I'm thinking of the user interface eventually as well. And I think there's going to be like a list of all the bots that you own, and then you can click onto that and like see all the conversations you have had with that bot. And then inside of each conversation, you can talk to it. That opens up the question, when I sell a bot, when I transfer a bot, you know, NFT that I own, an AI chatbot NFT, to someone else, does that person get to read all my conversations? I guess not. I guess not, because I'm thinking about it. Like if I'm a real person in the world and I want to, sort of have, you know, a bot that's an NFT that I'm talking with, then I can certainly if this bot is as close to a real person as possible, when I go talk to somebody else, right? I don't tell everybody what I told previously to other people. So that means conversations, when I actually use a bot, that's going to be different. That's going to be a little bit different than this. So I'm thinking that when I have this bot here and transfer it, when I use it, I need to figure out a conversation. That means I need a way of listing conversations with a bot. So let's actually expand this one, right? So use chatbots what does that mean? Well, it means list conversations with bots, create new conversation with bot, send message in existing conversation. Okay. Do I want to... Let's just keep this simple. Let's just keep it simple. This is already getting a little bit complex. Let's keep it as simple as we can for as long as we can. That's what I like to do. So we need a way to create new conversations with a bot. Can we do that? Well, yes. All right. That means that we're going to need a way to have conversations. So this.conversations, there's an empty array of conversations. Okay. So we now have list own bots. Let's just say create conversation, and it's going to take the identity key of the user. It's going to take the ID of a bot, and it's going to take the initial message that we're going to send in the conversation. All right. So to create a conversation, what is this going to entail? We need to make sure user must own the bot. Okay. So is there a does user own bot function? We should have that. I keep doing this. Does user own bot? And that's going to take the identity key of a user and the bot ID, right? It's a very simple function. this dot bots dot sum x, where x dot owner identity key is equal to identity key and x dot ID is equal to the bot ID. So we're going to say basically find me a bot where the owner is this user, right? Okay, so if, can I call these? I think I can. If the user does not own the bot, then we're going to throw an error, right? And the error is going to be user does not own this bot. You, in fact, you does not. You do not appear to own this bot. So if you create a bot, or if you try to create a conversation with a bot you don't own, then, well, not going to work. Now we need to actually create a conversation though. So let's go ahead and grab this .conversations.push. So we're going to make a new conversation. The fields of a conversation are going to be owner identity key. It's going to be the identity key of the user. Bot ID. It's going to be the bot ID. And the ID of the conversation. Okay. So each conversation has a unique ID, and it's got messages in it. So now there exists a conversation that we want, right? Now we know this exists. We need a function for creating messages in a conversation. So insert message in conversation. It's going to take the conversation ID and it's going to take the message ID. Well, it's going to take the message, the entire message. So this, well, actually, do we need a function for this? We just need to insert the messages in the conversation. So now we have a way of creating a conversation, and we may just want to leave out the initial message. Maybe you create a conversation. I don't like that though. A conversation also has a title. And I don't think the initial message should be part of it. Not in this context. We'll get to messaging later and we'll have one messaging endpoint. So a conversation has a title. The user enters the title when they create the conversation. Okay? So users can now create a conversation with a bot. And let's look at our requirements. A user wants to list conversations they have with a given bot. Okay? So list conversations with bot. And that's going to be identity key, bot ID, right? And verify that the user owns the bot. Once again, if the user does not own the bot, then can't list the conversations. And then we want to filter. So X is going to be owner identity key is equal to the identity key of the user, and X dot bot ID X dot bot ID is equal to the bot ID. Okay, so it's basically saying filter and find only the conversations where this is the user who owns the conversation, and this is the bot that is involved in the conversation with the user. And now we have the ability to do that. All right, listing conversations. That's done. Create a new conversation with a bot, right? Done that. Send messages in an existing conversation. List a right. Then we'll get to the marketplace stuff. We're not going to do the marketplace stuff just yet. We'll do that after we do some front end work, because we're going to need to make some serious front end progress before we make any of this stuff happen. So we're putting together the core business logic right now with a simple storage engine, and then we're going to actually build an API on top of that for this, and then we'll go ahead with the front end work after we have our API. That's kind of the plan. So list bots for sale, right? That's not going to be a thing. I mean, we can add a this.marketplace. But the real thing we need to do right now is have a way of actually sending a message to the bot, right? We need to send a message in a conversation, and we need to build all the stuff that makes that happen, because that's important. You know, how do we actually get this to work, to do what we want? And then we need to save the message sent by the user, as well as the message sent by the bot in the conversation, so that, you know, users can interact with the system. So let's go ahead and start by list a chatbot they own on the market. No, let's think. We need to be able to send. I was going to do something, but I can't remember exactly. Oh, that's what it was. So there are a couple of things that I want to change just here to make it a little bit easier. So we've got create user. We've got does user exist, create bot, and do we want to return the ID of the bot that we just created? Probably, because that's going to be useful, you know. So I'm actually going to say ID is going to go up, make it variable. ID is that, and I guess we have crypto, so we can just say crypto. I just like to review a little bit of the code before I move on to another thing. So return the ID of the bot after you create it. Okay. These ones have return values already. And same thing here. So a couple things. That's just crypto. This is going to be ID. And return the ID. Okay. All right, so that when you create a conversation, you get the conversation ID back, and when you create a bot, you get the bot ID back. That's what I wanted to change. Now, we actually want to have the ability to send a message to a bot and get a response back. And we need to incorporate the training messages of the bot, followed by the messages that were already in the conversation, followed by yes, and I've thought of one more thing we need. We need the ability to list messages in a conversation. That's important, isn't it? List messages in a conversation. Okay, so let's go ahead and so we've got list conversations with a particular bot. Now let's go ahead and build a little function for listing the messages in a conversation. And we're going to make sure the user is authenticated. So make sure the user owns the bot. Make sure that the bot is the bot that is part of this conversation. So the user ID, or the identity key of the user, the bot's ID, and the getting ahead of myself here. Let's do this in a second. So send message is going to be in a second. This one is going to be list conversation messages. So the identity key, the bot ID, and the conversation ID. First, we need to make sure that the user owns the bot. Once again, make sure that the user owns the bot. And we also need to make sure that the bot owns, is bot associated with conversation. We need to be able to check that the does bot own conversation, right? So does, well, let's think. So when you sell, interesting. I'm thinking of some dynamics here for this app. When you sell a bot on the marketplace, you lose your conversations you had with that bot. But if you ever buy that same bot back later, your conversations that you had come back. That's an interesting, I like that. That's unintentional, but I like it. So if the same user ever talks to the same bot, so the user, so we make sure the user owns the bot when they list the conversations, the messages in a conversation. And we make sure the does user own, does bot, so the user must own the bot and the bot must own the conversation in order for you to list the, so let's this dot conversations.sum x, where x dot bot ID is equal to bot ID, and right, so now we're basically saying make sure that the user who created, so does bot own conversation, conversation ID, bot ID. And we're saying make sure that there is a conversation where the bot with this bot ID has, right, yes, this appears to be correct. So we make sure that the user owns the bot, and we make sure the bot owns the conversation before we list the messages in a conversation. And then we'll also do the same logic inside of, so this does bot own conversation, and we say bot ID, conversation ID. Right. Let me look at some logic up here. List conversations. So conversation has an owner identity key. Did I build a function for creating conversations yet? I think I did. This bot does not appear to own this conversation. To own, that doesn't sound right. This bot does not appear to have access to. And I'm going to refactor that function name. A bot doesn't own a conversation, but a bot has access. Can bot access? Right. Can bot access conversation? Right. Perfect. Okay. So we're basically saying here, we need to make sure that the bot can access the conversation before we go and grab the messages. So now we know the conversation ID and it's been authenticated. And we can just say return this.messages.filter x where conversation ID is equal to And by the way, sorting through every message in the entire database in order to find the ones in this conversation is not necessarily the best practice, but this is not a production system by any stretch of the imagination. It will be, maybe. People like it, but not yet. So messages, right, we're just going to return all the messages in the conversation, basically. Okay. Now we need to apply the same rules for send message, making sure that you have a user, a bot, a conversation, and the new message you want to send. So we got the same parameters as this function, as well as the message. This is where we're actually going to do some business logic. It's going to be async. And this is where I'm going to grab the OpenAI as well. So let's go ahead and grab this stuff, move it out of here, because this API is about to get different than what it was. And I want to go ahead and in the storage engine, I'll just import it up here. All right, so there's OpenAI. Constructing that OpenAI object based on the identity key. So I just have OpenAI as a global. I'm not going to go this.open. I could. I could say that the storage engine has OpenAI. And why would I do that? You know, I'm not going to do that. So it'll just be global. So here is where I can take the code from the index, where before I was using it like this, and now I'll start to actually use the business logic that I've started to build. So in this send message function, I'll go ahead and we'll say completion is await OpenAI, and we'll call this. And so what are the messages, right? What are we actually going to put in here? Because the messages are going to determine a lot of things about the response, obviously. Training messages, previous conversation messages, all of them. So let's go ahead and think about this. What do we actually want in such a response? I want to first get the bot. I want to know what the bot is. So I need a function for finding my bots by their ID, right? So find bot by ID, and I'll just say ID, and it's going to be return this.bots.find x where, I don't know, x.id is equal to ID or something, because I believe the ID of the bot is let's think. When I created a new bot, what did I give it? So create conversation. We've got create bot. We've got ID. Yeah. Okay. All right. So find bot by ID. Return this bot's find x ID is equal to ID. So we can now grab our bot equals this dot find bot by ID. And why do we need the bot with this ID? That's because we need to be able to get the training messages, because remember, the messages that are being put in here for the bot are its training messages, followed by the conversation messages. So followed by the message that we actually want to send. So send message, we need the message. Okay. But message is just a string, isn't it? And these each have something like, oh, what was it? Role, user, content, message, or something like that, I think it was. All right, so now we get the conversation messages, but we need a way to get messages in a conversation. Don't we already have that? Didn't we just build it? Let's go up here. So list conversation messages. We have the identity key, the bot ID, and the conversation ID. And then we return, right? And do we do this validation again? Well, I mean, object-oriented, it's just one line of code. It's very tempting to copy it, but what if this changed in the future? I may very well want to do this. So we'll just say conversation messages. And it's going to be this dot list conversation messages. And it's going to be identity key, bot ID, conversation ID. So we go grab all the messages from this conversation. So we first start with the training messages, then we say the conversation messages, and then we say the current message of the user. Okay? And that's going to be our completion, right? If I go look at the code, I want to return back to my users this. So I'll say return based on this. Then we're just going to build an API around this whole thing, which hopefully will be fun, because I think I might have a creative way of doing it. So we'll go ahead and return the completion. Well, actually, let's just set a variable. Bot response equals that, and we're going to return bot response. But before we do that, well, we do have two new messages to insert into the messages, table. So this dot messages dot push. And if I was a little bit better, in fact, no, there's never going to be millions, or even it's going to be fine. I'm just thinking that I could put the specific messages for a particular conversation within that conversation's object, and it would be a lot faster. But I don't have a good reason not to do it, but I'm not going to. It's this storage engine is not SQL. It's not anything. It's just an in-memory storage engine for mock, for development, basically, and for getting this done quickly. And for testing, it's cool. It'll be useful. But let's just proceed here without dealing with the performance, or worrying about the performance aspects of doing something like this. So let's see what is going on here. How many people are watching? We got 3 watching now, so thank you to those who are tuning in. Hello, Mort. Good to see you on here. So we're going to push a couple of messages onto the array of messages. So we're going to want message IDs for each of these before we return the completion, which is the chatbot thing. So let's grab the ID for, I want this code here. And so each message has an ID, created, and then it's going to have role and ID created, role, and content. So the created is going to be something like new, or is it date.now? I don't remember. I'll have to check in the JavaScript console in a second. And then the ID, let's think. So this one is going to be the role of the user, because the user is sending the message first. And the content is going to be message. And then we need to push a second message, which is going to be the bot's response. Role, assistant, content, and this is going to be bot response. So we're now pushing 2 conversation messages onto the chatbot here, into our conversation. So date.now, let's verify that, because I don't know if that's anything legit. Let's go to the console and just say date.now. Yep, that's a timestamp. I think that's about right. Okay, so that's fine. Just wanted to put timestamps on here because, you know, maybe we'll put them in the UI or something. Okay, so that's actually it should be enough. That should be enough to let's think. I feel like that should be enough to get us going. Like, we should be able to send messages to the chatbots in a conversation with the training data, and users should be able to create chatbots and all of this stuff now, I think. So now we have this storage engine that's been written. Let's actually use it. Let's go to the, right, let's import the storage engine that I've just made. Equals require storage engine. And now we can actually, what I want to try to do, okay, I'll tell you what I want to try to do. I want to leave this code here as an example, just in case I need it in the future, because earlier we actually had it, you know, using the /chat thing, and it was kind of working with that. But what I want to do is first construct a new storage engine. So engine is new storage engine, okay? And then I want to something like object.values engine. I want to console.log that. Because if I can do this, then I can loop through all these engine functions, and I can make API routes out of them somehow. I'm going to try object.entries, because I want to see what I can access here. So let's just relaunch this. Okay, we got it a crash. Why did it crash this time? Let's, okay, I don't need that open. Let's go through this error. The error was storage engine is not a constructor. Let's think why. Why would that not be a constructor? We're importing that from there. Did I not export it? If I didn't, that's classic. Class storage engine. All right, well then how about module.exports? equals storage engine. Let's try that again. All right, I think we got somewhere, didn't we? Let's think. So we get an array. So we're logging out object.entries, and it's saying we have no bots, no users, no conversations, no messages, and no marketplace bots for sale at the moment. Let's go ahead and change that. What I wanted to do was find a way to get the I wanted to find a way to get the names of the, is it get own property names or something? Object.get own pro. I wanted to find a way to loop through all those functions we just wrote one by one and use them as API endpoints, like directly. Object.get own property names. Can I try something like that? Bots, users, conversations. I'm going to do some Googling here to try to find a way to, how to, if you know, put it in the chat, how to get a list of methods on all right, let's see what I can find. So this tells me get prototype of, get prototype of. So object.get prototype of. So if I can loop through all of the function names, I can then use that to build me an entire API, I think. So let's see if this does it. All right, that's what I wanted, right? See, I now get this list of stuff. Constructor, we won't use constructor, right? Everything but constructor. So call this endpoints equals, right, object.that, I don't know, dot, let's do the most inefficient thing we can think of, dot filter x where x is not equal to constructor. Okay, object dot that dot filter. All right, so now we just want to make an API. So how do we do that? Well, app.post / endpoint and async rec and res. So try, and we'll just say something like engine sub endpoint rec.body. I know we're grabbing the user ID and everything from the body, and that's not good. But try something like that, and it's actually going to be, we'll get into a couple things in a second. I'll explain some things. Const result equals await that and catch e is going to be status error code There's not going to be error codes yet, and it's just going to be e.message. So in case of an error, we throw the error, and otherwise the result is just going to be result, right? That's it. So now we have an API. We're looping through all of the methods that we just wrote, and we have an API. Now, there is a few problems, actually. Firstly, there's zero API authentication. We will get there. We will get there. Secondly, we don't have a front end, so we can't actually test anything yet. I mean, we could write tests and do it that way. This is very early stage prototype, so cut me some slack on that. Let's go ahead and, how do I know if this is like working? I just want to like, okay, so I need a way to create a user, right? Or check if a user exists. So every one of my endpoints needs to fail if there's not a user. So I guess this is the point where we talk about, I'm thinking two directions here. I could try to make this work, or we can do some front end stuff to try to get some semblance of validation on this stuff, or we can move into API authentication. I'm not terribly sure which one I want to do yet. So let me know if you'd like to move to front end, or if you'd like to do some API authentication. I think. I want to go ahead with some front end because this is looking pretty bad so far. Just have and I'd like to see this working again. I'd like to mess with the AI a little bit. So we need a bunch of things in this interface. We need the ability to, so there's going to be a few things in the user interface, right? UI views. Let's figure out these views of the user interface. So UI views, we could say the My Bots view, which allows you to, create a bot, list bots. You have the bot conversations view. So you clicked into a bot. Now you can, I think this is just called bot view. You can see info about the bot, and you can list conversations, and you can also create a new conversation. And then we have the conversation view, where you can obviously see messages and send a message. All right, so we need 3 views then. In the user interface. So let's go to, let's look at, let's see. I want to say, all right, let's do bot threads. Yeah. So each of the bots has the ability to have conversations. I want to be able to test that. So I'll go to Ninja. Well, this is called Ninja because it's a fork of that user interface. And I'll go to the app page first, and we'll build these 3 pages. So we in /bots, that'll be like the So if you go to slash, that's like welcome, and it'll probably redirect you to slash bots unless you don't have an account. So that's what welcome will be. But other than that, I'm putting in a route for bots, conversation, bots view, bot view, and conversations. Is that going to be a slash colon bot ID? Let's be what did this? So we have my bots. That's what it was. So we got my bots. How is this going to be encoded? I'm just thinking here. Yeah, so you have slash bots. So slash bot ID. And then you have slash bot ID conversations conversation ID. And that gets a little bit, complex, I guess, but all right. So we got my bots as a page, and just bot, and this is going to be conversation. All right. So I need a few more things. Let's do the same thing. My bots, bot, conversation. And so I will now go and code up these pages in the pages folder. So the welcome should basically just right now it lets you use the slash chat endpoint, which doesn't necessarily exist yet. But it has Boomerang imported, so I'm just going to leave that, and I'm going to go and make a new. So it's going to be called my bots, and let's just make a simple interface for listing the bots that we have on this page and creating a new bot, and that way we can create the first bot and get that in the database, see it in the list. So rename this to my bots. So here we are. All right. So bear with me. We're going to want dialogue content, dialogue title, dialogue actions. We have text field, button, typography. I think that should be enough. So the endpoint for making a bot currently is so just create bot. I think it was create bot. And then you need each had a name, a motto, and training messages. And the training messages are going to be the tough part. We're not going to actually have training messages in the initial thing. It'll just be an empty array. That's fine. Eventually, people are going to be able to train bots with their own personalities, and that'll be an attribute of that bot, and we'll see that in action. But at the beginning, just to test this, I want, so firstly I want a thing to track whether this is open. Create open, set create open, and that's false. And bots and set bots, and that's going to be empty array to begin with. No loading indicators yet. We'll do that later. So this is a handle create. We'll need some fields for the create dialog box. I'm just going to call these name and motto. Name. Default name, Fred. And motto. Oh, what's a good default motto? What is that one? Vision without action is a day. I don't know. Example motto. I'll think of a better motto if I go to prod with this at all. So we get a motto, and then we have training messages, which I'll just set to be an empty array. And so we have the list of bots on the screen, or we have a list of bots that exist. We have a list of, or we have the stuff to make a new bot, and whether the creation dialog box is open. This function gets executed whenever somebody wants to create a new bot, and because we're in a page, I can take history, and I can say, after the bot has been created, well, for now I want to console.log just to see what response actually comes back, but it should be something like history.go, history.push, and we'll basically say response.result, which is going to be the bot. It's going to be the bot ID. So it's going to be, then I'll go to bots/bot ID. Okay, so I'll comment that for now. But it should work actually. So let's leave it just in case it works. You know, why not? So that's what happens when you create a bot. We now need to make a list of bots. So this is going to be called my bots. And so I want a how do I want to do this? Each bot has a motto and a name. So I'll just do the naive way for now. I'm thinking of like UI elements and list items and list item text and all this stuff, but I'm not going to do that quite yet. So bots.map. Oh, well, let's think. When you create a new bot, you'll go to the new page. So bots.map, x where x where, and then it's a paren because it's div key equals I, something right under the list, and h2 rather. It's going to be x.name, h2, h3, x.motto, h3. Okay, so this basically is listing all the bots in a conversation, or in a, well, really, I guess this should be link, because we need to be able to click on these. And that means 2 equals x.id /bots/ so that links you have a link to the bot that you are listing. So we're listing all the bots on the screen, and we are then having a way of doing, clicking into each one. So now I need a button, and the button is going to say new bot, and when you click on the button, it's going to set the dialog box, which we haven't built yet, open, so that you can create your new bot. So my bots create new. So this will be something like set create open. So when you click on this, right, when you click on the create new bot button, it should open the dialog box. Now we just need a dialog box. Dialog open equals create open dialog title new bot put some dialog content in here, and we'll have a dialog actions, and each of these actions is going to be let's see, so button it's going to be a cancel button, and there's going to be an OK button as well. Create, we'll call it. This is going to be handle create. And what's going to be in the sort of dialog content? That's going to be the text fields. So we'll put that up here. One of them is going to be name, one of them is going to be motto, and that's going to be it. So this is set name value equals name, set motto value equals motto. Okay, we got a name and a motto text field in a dialog box that opens when you click the button. If my formatter would work, that would be nice, but I'll format it manually. Okay, all right, so saving that. I need to restart that, I just remembered. And what is it telling me? What are my errors? All right, we got cannot resolve pages bot. Oh yeah, so now we have to create the empty pages for the other ones because we just did that. So I'll just make them all welcome pages. So one of them is called bot. I believe the other one is called conversation. All right, let's see what that did. So we're on welcome. That's as we expect. Go to my bots. There's my bots. And just as we expect, there's no items on the list. Let's go ahead and hit this button. So we got name is Fred, an example motto. Let's just hit create. And what happens? What just happened? I don't know what happened. Oh, wait, did it work? It worked. I think that whole thing just worked. I think we successfully created a bot because it just redirected me, and that means it got a bot ID back from the server, and that means that my API wrapper thing worked, and it generated the bot ID inside the create bot function that we wrote all the way back, and now we're here, and it doesn't say that the page is found because, that's how things work. But, well, cool. Let's see the network tab, verify. So we call the function called create bot, and the create bot function was called this is options. So I want post and the payload. We gave it a motto, a name, and some training messages. And then the response that we got was, there's the bot ID of the created bot. Okay, so now the server is running, and this is an in-memory storage engine. So by stopping the server, I would get rid of my bot, but I don't want to do that. I want to see my bot. So I'm going to go back, and I don't see it on the list. Why don't I see it on the list? Well, that's because I haven't actually coded up the piece of logic that goes and renders the list of, this fetches it, right? So this is the create bot thing. I'm gonna go ahead and grab. I want my storage engine over here now, so I can see what I'm working with. And I want to make a new function called useEffect. Async. All right, so very cool. Now we have a useEffect side here. And what is my function called that is for listing bots? That is actually bots that we created. So list something. List own bots. Okay. So if I call list own bots, now keep in mind, identity key was not provided. So the identity key of this is undefined, but undefined equals undefined. So we're going to do user authentication next, but we'll do this, well, we'll get a couple things done actually. So list own bots, list own bots. And I think that just takes an identity key, which I'm not providing right now. We're going to put an auth right here in a second for user authentication. But let's first go ahead and set bots. Wait, what is it called? Is it called? Yeah, set bots. It's going to be response.result, I believe. Let's run that. Reloading the page. What do we have? Is there an error in the console? I bet there is. Tells me that useEffect is not defined. Classic. So I'll go up here, use state, and now use effect as well. And now it tells me link is not defined. Oh, classic. Import link from React router DOM. And what's it going to tell me now? It tells me I is not defined. Oh, yeah, because map. How do you do map? It's x comma I. X comma I. I get a feeling if it's running into this code, there must be something there, right? There's Fred. We get Fred the bot, and by clicking on this, we get back to the /bots/bot ID. And that appears to be the same bot ID. So I can now go back, and I can create bots, and I can list them in our little interface. And this doesn't look the greatest with its HTML. I haven't done any styling, but yeah, that's not the point. Let's get this working. Okay, so how do I make that work? I thought that would have worked. So now we want to build the bot page, which tells me all about Fred and lets me see the conversations that I'm having with Fred. Well, okay, firstly, before this gets out of hand, this is actually called my bots and not welcome. Okay. And this one is actually called bot. And this one is actually called conversation. That's where we'll send chat messages with each of the bots. So let's go ahead and so I believe the my bots thing is working. I want to figure out why the bot page is not working. /bot, so path equals /bot. So is this exact? Maybe this is exact, and that's why. So get rid of exact. maybe that's... Now, I would do a nested route, right, where I say switch inside the bot page and render the conversation page inside there. And that may actually still be the best approach. I don't know. But I get a feeling I didn't have that I got that 404 because it wasn't exact. So now I'm on the My Bots page, I refresh, and I go to the Fred page, and now it's still 404. Okay. Why is that 404? So I'm on /bots/ that, and I'm saying my path is /bot/bot ID. So how do I have parameters like that in my URL? Because I seem to remember, maybe I'm not doing this right in, I'm in /bots with an S / I bet people were probably telling me that. Let's see. So I want to fix my redirect then. So I want to go to the My Bots page, and I want to change the link to be /bot singular /, and I think this one is also incorrect, right? So it's one bot that you're on, the ID of a particular bot. So I'll go back, refresh. Haha! So now this should say the name of the bot. It should say a bunch of things. It should go get the name of the bot from the API, and it should, should be able to do that. I think there's a function for getting so on the bot page, right? We need use effect. We need the conversations for this bot. We'll be able to then create a new conversation in a second. So use state, use effect. I'm gonna steal some code from the My Bots page for this use effect because it's pretty similar, actually. And so we have, I think it's called match. Yeah, I think it's called match. So you take in match as a prop from the one, and so this is going to be a use effect, and it's just going to say, there's a few things we want to do. So firstly, I want to be able to get the information from this bot. So list own bots, does user own bot, create conversation, we'll do that in a second. List conversations, can bot access, list conversation messages, find bot by ID. Here we go. Find bot by ID. And this you just pass in an ID of a bot, in this case, match.params.botID, and it's going to then set bot to the response.result. That's fine. All right, so when the page loads, there should be a bot variable, which is now set to that, and then there's going to be a create. So I'm actually going to steal the code for the create conversation as well, because that's similar to create bot. I don't need this console.log in here anymore because that worked. Didn't even need to use it. And bots. So I'll go ahead and this bot page, I'll put that up there. That'll be for later. So there's going to be a variable called bot set bot, and that's use state with empty to begin with. And then the things this bot actually has are conversations. So you click into a bot, and you can see the conversations you're having with that bot. right? So handle create, this is going to be handle create conversation. Create conversation, and you give it a title, if I recall correctly. You also give it a bot ID, which is going to be match.params.bot ID, and you give it nothing else. And it's going to, this is going to redirect you actually to the conversation after you create it. It's going to be bot slash conversation, so bot slash that. It's going to be match.params.bot ID. Right, so we'll build out this API for, or this function for creating a conversation. And this one down here, so we're going to need some of that stuff we did from before with a dialogue, and very similar. So we get the bot variable, which is, and then we get the conversations that it has. So this one, let's focus down here though for a second before we do the create stuff. We're getting the find bot by ID, and we're setting the bot to equal that. We also want to get the conversation, the conversations, list conversation, nope, it's list conversations with bot. So given a bot ID, I want to be able to list the conversations I've had with that bot. So I'm going to copy all this and list conversations with bot, and I give the bot ID, same as here. Is this called ID or bot ID? I think it's called bot ID. All right. And identity key, once again, right now is undefined. That'll change later when there's multiple users and authentication with authwrite and everything. Set bot, and that's going to be set conversations. Okay. All right. So now we're getting information about the bot, putting that in the bot variable. We're then listing the conversations and putting that in the conversations variable. Now we'll go ahead and focus on the create stuff again. Once again, I want a lot of code. In fact, I'm going to split this over to a third. Can I do 3? I guess I can. So I'll have my bots over here, and I'll have bot over here because I want things like create open. I also want most of that dialogue. And I guess it's just going to be a title. It's going to say, what title do you want for your conversation? So title, set title. And we'll just have a default title, new conversation. And we have create open. So, this is so similar that I'm going to grab all this return section, the HTML, or what is it, JSX that I have in this one, and just replace it, and then I'll change what is necessary to change. So there's a list, there's a create button. It's very similar to the other one, right? It's just listing conversations now. So this is, I don't know, bot.name, and then I'll put in italics, bot.motto. All right, so there's the name and the motto for the bot. That's going to be at the top of the page. There's going to be a back button. So I don't know, button on click equals history.go -1. Back. This is going to be, it's going to win the Web Design Awards for 2023. Most attractively styled website. History. So right, when you go back, you'll be able to go back to your list of bots, and now we get the name of the bot. We have a create new, so new conversation button, which calls set create open true. That's correct. And then it's going to be conversations.map x and I. So we say on click equals, so it's bot slash something slash conversation slash something. It's going to be match params dot bot ID. So it's going to say when you click on this conversation, go to this place. Okay. Go to this place when you click on this conversation. And now we have x dot ID, which I think is correct. And then this is going to be x dot title. And what I really want to do in the future is have a last message. So it'll say the title of the conversation and the last message. Right now I'm just going to delete this and just say last message. To do in, right. So I'll do that later. So to see, here's the ID of the conversation. Now here's a dialog. This can be new conversation. There's going to be a text field. Set title value equals title. That's the title for the conversation that you're having. There's only one this time. And then the button is handle create. So that's actually all done. That's done. I think that should work. Let's see. So save it. Famous last words. What do we got here? Oh, we got looks like, did I not do a oh, it's already been declared. Okay, so I'll just declare that one differently in this use effect. So we'll say conversations response conversations response, save. All right, what do we got now? Dialogue. Yes, 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 of course. Of course it's not found because I didn't import it. So the same exact imports, matter of fact, as this one, because it's a very similar interface. All right, now we've got a couple screens, I think. Let's see. Did I speak too soon? Unknown event handler property on click. That's all right. Where is that? Where is the line number? On click. On click. All right, that appears to be working. Let's check in with this. We'll build something. I don't know if it'll be GigaChat. Like that's a cool idea for the on-chain thing. We can see what gets created. I think. All right, I think this is now going to be working. Let's see. So we got Fred, we got example motto, and we got new conversation. Let's go back. So I got my bots. I can click on Fred and get to Fred. And then I can, theoretically, I should be able to make a new conversation with Fred as well. So I click that, I say new conversation. We'll just call it new conversation. Say create, see what happens. And what happens? Says bots / that / conversations / that. So we're in the right place. It appears to have created a new conversation. Now the question is, why is this dialog still open? I guess that's because I didn't close it. So we should do that. I should also close the other one in this one too. So in the create, after we do that, right, set create open false, and same with this one over here. All right, so okay, what's going on? Got an error. Link is not defined. Is that inside of bot.js? Did I not import link in bot.js? Maybe I didn't. And I'm using it for, of course I am. Import link from React DOM. So here is, oh, I see new conversation. So I see the list. I see, wait, but I'm in the wrong place. So I'm in the slash conversations thing, right? But if you look at my URL, I'm actually in the slash bot slash conversation, right? And I'm not in the place I need to be. So I think if I refresh this, right, I'm still here and I still see new conversation. But if I click on this, I'm actually in that place. So if I go back, I can go back to my bots, right? This is my bots. I can go to Fred. I can see I have new conversation. I can click on this, but nothing happens. Even though my URL's changed, it's because the routing is not correct. It's not redirecting me properly. So I can go back. Notice my URL changed, but not the content. So clicking into here, goes forward, go back, right? Go back again. Now I'm at my bots. That makes sense. So I can create conversations now, but I can't view my conversations. So I have the ability, there exists a conversation between me and Fred, but why isn't this working? If we think about it, I'll close this and I'll go to app.js. This route is defined after this one. So the conversations route is defined after. I think this one should catch some, but not the others. So what I think is happening is that this one is catching too many of the filters. So this one should be hopefully more restrictive. So I expect to see Fred. I want to go back. I'm at my bots, refreshing the page just to make sure. Still see Fred, clicking on Fred. Now I click on new conversation and it's still, okay, it's not working. I think I have to change the way this is structured, because if I want to use a nested URL, I either have to put another switch inside the bot page, which I don't really want to do right now, or I can change the name of this this one. So I think that actually doesn't make as much sense either. So I have slash conversations here. I'm going to call this be two things here. It'll be slash bot. I could just call this slash conversations, couldn't I? Slash conversations slash bot ID slash conversation ID. Okay. That's what that's going to be. Now I change the redirect inside of the bot page, both of them. So slash conversations. Wait, is it conversations or conversation? I always get it mixed up. So app.js. Conversations, but it's one conversation. No, it is one. There is a single conversation that is being displayed on that page. Okay, so when I go to the bot page here, conversation singular /bot ID /conversation ID, and then we come down here into the link where we're actually mapping, and we'll say /conversation /bot ID /conversation ID. Okay, save that. All right, now it shouldn't interfere, because before it was just interfering, I think. All right, so let's go ahead and why is this showing up still? That shouldn't be the case. Oh, because it's in bots, right? So it's technically a subchild of this, so anything on that page is going to show. But go back. So I'll go back to my bots, refresh this page. All right, now I go to bots. I can see Fred. I see Fred's screen. I can go here, and now I see /conversation /the bot ID /the conversation ID. Now my routing is correct. And that is basically all the routing we're going to need for a while until we do the marketplace side. So the whole entire side of the app where you have bots and you can create new bots, and then within each bot you can create new conversations, and you can see those. That's all done. That's all done. Okay. So the conversation. Let's actually have a conversation with Fred. How does that work? So you know, because of let's think. How similar is that? No, let's not copy it. I was thinking of copying the other one, but you know, it's not that similar. Okay. We have a handle send. That's actually correct now. So we have a conversation ID. We have a match. So it's going to get us the parameters. We have history for going back. Oh, this is pretty similar. I'm gonna delete this whole thing and make it based on the other one. Move to trash. And then this is called bot. I'm going to rename this to conversation. I'll just go over here and call this conversation. So we get match and history. Yeah, see, this is already pretty similar. We get bot. Do we need the bot here? Probably. Probably we want to see the bot that we're talking to in the conversation. Okay, we need a back button too. We don't need conversations. We need messages. And create open. We don't need a create this time. But we do need a message we're typing. So text, set text, right? Just like we did before. So handle create, that's going to be handle send. Handle send, okay? And we're going to need a few things. We're going to need a few things. So let's think. We have the bot, we have the messages, and we have the current message we're typing. And that's it. I mean, that's really all we're going to need on this screen, right? So if we go back to our little document where we describe the views, let's validate this. So my bots view, I can create a bot and list my bots. The bot view, I can see info about this bot, and I can list the conversations. And then I can also create a new conversation. And in the conversations view, I can see the messages and I can send a message. Okay? So let's go and actually finish the seeing and sending of messages. So this is going to happen when you hit the enter key, when you send a message to the bot. And this one I do want to have a loading because people well, let's set this to true by default. It's loading by default, okay? So the sending of a message to the bot. What do we need to send a message to it? Well, we built this logic just not too long ago in the storage engine down here. In fact, this is the core of the application right now. Send message, identity key. So bot ID, conversation ID, and the message. We have all of these things. So let's just say send message. And we have the bot ID already put in. We have the conversation ID, which is just going to be from the parameters, just like we got with the bot ID. And then the message we're sending is going to literally be, I think it's just called text. All right. So it's going to be conversation ID. All right. And so we post the message off to the bot, or to the server rather. Well, first we say we're loading. Set loading true, and then set loading false. And we don't need a history push anything. Instead, we need to put something into the messages. So set messages, and we need to add the new messages. How are we going to do this? We need to add something. So old messages arrow, and we're going to return it's going to be ... old messages, and it's going to be role user message content. It's going to be text. So that's basically going to say put the message the user sent into the list of messages. Okay, that's actually going to happen before we go to the AI. It's going to happen a little while earlier, because when the user hits enter, they want to see that immediately, even before they start loading. So it's like, yeah, you sent a message, okay? Now let's get the message that the AI sent back. So that's going to be role assistant content, and let's just go ahead and say what is it? It's like response.result. I think that's what it was. Let's look at this. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Okay. So we're adding a message for the user, and then we're going and getting the AI's response, and then we're adding the response from the AI chatbot to the end of the messages array. Okay. So now let's go ahead and that's sending. You can now send a message, right? And get the thing reflecting in the user interface. We need to load in the messages that exist, right? There is a we need to get the previous messages from the conversation, if there were any though, right? And put those in the messages array. And we also need to get information about the bot. So we're already getting information about the bot, right? That's done. And now we're also, well, at the end of all this, we need to set loading false. And that way we don't do what we don't need to. And this is going to be set messages. This is going to be messages response. And list conversation. Okay. So let's think here. Let's go ahead and actually grab so we have list conversation messages. And we've got the bot ID and the conversation ID, just like we had before. So I'll just go ahead and use that endpoint, list conversation messages, and bot ID, conversation ID is going to be match params conversation ID. Okay, great. So now we have a way of having our messages load into the conversation at the beginning. So let's go ahead and make the actual user interface now. So we have the bot information just like we had before. That's fine. We have the new conversation button, but that doesn't exist any longer, so that doesn't make sense. And this is conversations. It's going to be called messages. Messages.map. And we have messages, which is a state variable. And so for each message in the conversation, we don't need a link. We just need, well, a paragraph. And we'll put in bold the person sending it. And we'll just say, here's the content of the message, right? So there's a bunch of messages, and for each message, there's the you know, the thing, right? If it's loading, there's ... Okay. We don't need a dialog. We do need a text field. Wait, where did my text field? Stay. Text field stays. Everything else goes. All right. So there is how to make a little text field. Oops. And this is going to be set text value equals text, write a message, and you know what the heck, we'll make this full width. And when you send, it's going to be a button. Actually, how do you do this? Form action equals handle send, or on submit equals handle send. I think that's how you do that. There's a form. Okay, when you hit enter, you submit the form. Now, because handle send is now a form submission handler, it needs to take E. It needs to say E dot prevent default to stop the page reloading. All right. I think that's actually it. Here's Fred. We can go back. We can write a message. Maybe if there's like some space after his thing, that would be nice. So let's just make us some space on the bottom there. All right, that's a little better. All right, and this has new conversation. So let's get rid of that and make that a placeholder so it looks slightly nicer. Placeholder equals write a message, and the default is going to be nothing. And then after you send the message, we want to actually clear it, right? So set text nothing. Now, there's no exception handling or anything, any of this stuff yet. It's going to start to bother me more and more, but not quite there yet. So this is what the conversation looks like. We're talking to Fred. Let's just see what happens. Hi, Fred. How are you doing? And I'm going to hit enter. Gives ... And there it is. Hi, as an AI language model, I don't have feelings, but I am functioning as expected. How can I assist you today? And we do have an error. Each child in the list should have a unique key prof. Well, yes, of course it should. React, of course it should. So let's go ahead and do that. So we got P and its key equals I. Right there. Now, when I reload this page, will the conversation come back? Maybe not yet. Why not? Why not? Let's think. Is there any problems with the server? The server is running and there's no errors on the server. So we did get a response back from Fred. Why isn't that showing up here in this conversation? What's going on? I want to go to the network tab and see what's coming back. So it's calling list conversation messages, and it's saying there's no messages in the conversation to list. What is the parameters? We're giving it the bot ID and the conversation ID, and there we had it. So that means that when I sent the message, it may not have put the. Right, let's do some debugging. I'm going to go all the way back. Right, refresh the page. I'm at my bots. I want to talk to Fred. I want to talk to Fred using new conversation. And when I go there, it's going to try to list the conversation messages once again, and it's not going to find any messages. So why not? Where did those messages go? What happened? It did give me a response, so that part worked. Okay, but it did not necessarily get me to where I wanted. So let's go ahead and let's figure out why. Let's go to the back end. We have this function, send message, and you give it the text, and it went here. It got the bot, it got the conversation messages, is this dot list conversation messages, right? It did this, and then it said completion, and then it said bot response, and then it said this dot messages dot push ID created role and content. ID created role and content. But did we actually associate that with a conversation? How does list conversation messages work, right? List conversation messages says filter x where x.conversation ID is equal to conversation ID. But these messages, when they were inserted, never had a conversation ID. So let's just give them a conversation ID. And what is the conversation ID? It's the ID of the conversation that was passed in when we wanted to, talk to the bot. So there's the conversation ID. Now, when I list messages, after I create them, they should be part of the conversation. That was the bug. Now that's been solved. Let's go ahead and refresh. It's not going to show up because those existing messages don't have a conversation. But if I say a new message, such as, I don't know, who won the World Series? I think that's in 2014. The San Francisco Giants won the World Series in 2014. I knew it. All right. So there's the AI bot giving us, oh yeah, one thing I want to do is disable the text field while the AI bot is loading. Disabled equals loading. And so when we refresh the page, do we see messages this time? List conversation message. Oh, that's a classic thing. I saved these changes, but I didn't reload the web server. There's a good reasons why I didn't reload the web server. The reason why is because if I do that, it wipes out Fred. We lose Fred because, well, this is an in-memory storage engine. So we have my bots and we have Fred. Oh, example motto. Oh yeah, that's what Fred's motto is. So we'll go ahead and, there's one thing I want to change before I leave this page. Before I want to make this just look slightly better. My bots, where's this here? I want to say, See, that's what I want, right? But I want this to be italic. I don't want it to be a big bold thing. I just want this to be italic. It'll look nicer. All right. Right, little things to keep our sanity. Oh, why is it red though? Don't make it red. No, no. Oh, because it's a style, it's a link. All right, whatever. They can be red for now. This is going to change. We're going to change all the UI. It's not going to look like this. I promise. All right, so going to Fred. The reason why it doesn't show up is because I have to restart the server. And when I restart the server, we lose Fred. So we have to say goodbye to Fred. And Fred, you know, you were a dear friend, Fred. You served us well. Now your time has come, and now you're dead. All right. We restart the server so we get our bug fix, and the conversation messages show up. And we refresh, and Fred is gone. So we make a new bot, and we call this one Fred 2.0. And Fred 2.0's model is, I am not Fred. Okay, so new bot. And we want a way to, one thing I want to change on this one is just make the button in the bot page slightly lower, so it's not on the same line as the you know. This is one of my things that people don't like, where I just put a bunch of BR tags everywhere when I'm prototyping. But, you know, whatever. Okay, new conversation with Fred 2.0. And this conversation is going to be called New Conversation. All right, here we are, talking to Fred 2.0. We can go back and see the conversations. And we can go back and see Fred 2.0 and talk to Fred 2.0. Hi, Fred. Can you tell me who won the World Series in 2014? And Fred says, sure, the San Francisco Giants won the World Series in 2014. All right, great. Now, $1 million question. Going back, refreshing the page, losing everything. Fred, do you remember me? Do you remember me? Yes, Fred remembers. So now we have all the messages from the conversation. Now, here's the thing about these chatbots. They remember. So if I say, where was it played? Oh. That's the first little bug I've seen with this OpenAI, but I said, where was it played? And it gave me an error? What does it say? Message. So it said bot, conversation, message. What happened? What was the result of this request? Why is it red? If I go to this section, did it crash the server? Maybe it crashed. What happened to the server? The server is still online. Why did it 400? Why was there what was my response to that? If I go to response, it said status error description, request failed with status code 400. Okay, so the OpenAI request failed with a status code of 400, I think, is what happened. Now I'm starting to regret building this in memory because, you know, I like to save these chatbots for more than one session. But we'll re-architect the storage engine when we add database support. I wanted to do a lot of things before that, but we'll get there. So we have these chatbots. Why did that one have an error? Why was it the case that that chatbot decided to not work? All right, we don't need this anymore because we know this aspect of things is working. It's probably related to the code we're using to pass in messages. Right, the chat completion system probably, if I had to guess, doesn't like probably doesn't like, so I'll go to the storage engine over here. Storage engine, and when I send off this completion request, I think there's going to be a problem. And so what I want to do is, well, one thing I should do is in the server, I should just change. So right now there's just, it's saying try catch without logging E. But if I see what E is before we actually send off the error to the client, then we might actually see what that error is more specifically. So I restart the server. We've killed Fred 2.0. We go back. It's going to give me an error because, well, it's trying to read a bunch of stuff that it can't read because that server's been deleted. So I go to my bots and I make a new bot, Fred 3, and I go to Fred 3 and I make a new conversation called new conversation, and I say, hello Fred, and the bot says, hello there, how may I assist you today? And I say, I would like to place my order. And gives me the same type of error, but now I hopefully have a bit more context here. Why did it throw an error? What was the error that it actually threw? It gave me a lot, but all right, error, request failed with status code 400. Config, is this using like Axios or method post, data, model, GPT, messages, ID. So it probably doesn't, okay. It doesn't like ID and created. I bet, and I'll try to look at the response. But I bet that what's happening is I don't need ID and created in that payload. So error 400. So I get res. Do I get to see the data? It's the one thing, can you see the data? Response, here we are, status text, headers, config, data. That's the data I sent it, right? Yeah. Request. And I just want to find out why that error is happening. Data error object. Okay. That's a little bit annoying because I can't quite read inside of that and I can't expand it. But I'm going to take a guess, a wild guess in the dark, and say, so training messages are going to be validated beforehand. Conversation messages, and we're going to list the conversation messages. And I'm going to say conversation messages.map x where, so return I want to have x. Oh, I can just say roll x.roll content x.content. And that way we can get the completion, right? So we're basically passing in the previous messages. When there is a set of previous messages we are passing in that have ID and created, then I think OpenAI is not liking that and it's throwing an error. So I'll go ahead and restart the server again and go through the process of recreating a bot. So get me back to my bots. My bots, new bot, new bot, new conversation, new conversation. Thank you for choosing Burger King. may I take your order? And the bot says, as an AI language model, I am not capable of ordering food. However, please let me know if there's anything else I can help you with. So now I get to say something that I should have said something like that I could ask a follow-on question. I could say, why not? All right, it worked. As an AI language model, I do not have a physical body or the ability to make transactions. So therefore, we have the context working. This means that users can now interact with bots, and it means that the bots will remember them. So this is a fairly poor example, but I'll go start a new conversation. And this one will be called, baseball. Right? So I got a new conversation with Fred called baseball, and we'll say, who won the World Series in 2014? The San Francisco Giants won the World Series in 2014. Will you remember that this is my favorite team? Should I have the capability to... Okay. So the AI will not be able to remember that the San Francisco Giants is your favorite team. All right, whatever. I thought it would be able to remember this, but now I can go back and I can talk about new conversation, where I can ask it to, please take my order, and I can go back and I can talk to it about baseball, right? And I can say, what is my favorite team? And it says, I'm sorry, but as an AI language model, I'm not capable of knowing who you are and what your favorite team is. Okay, so it's not retaining context as well as I would like, actually. I think that it's actually working though. I think it's working. Where was that World Series played? In 2014. See, it remembered all the way actually from the very top, right? When I mentioned 2014, it remembered all the way down here. So this means that it has context. Right. So it has the context. We've actually successfully built the initial part of this. We now have a system for having conversations with chatbots, and those chatbots are owned by the user, right? So as a user, I can create new chatbots. Now, the one thing we haven't messed with yet is the training messages and the other parameters, right? When we go and use these chatbots, they have no training messages. But when I created that chatbot named Fred, I could give it some examples. Like I could tell it, for example, whenever anybody talks to you, you are to respond in a Southern accent or some weird thing like that. Or whenever somebody, and it would try to or I could give it any number of different training messages, so that each AI has its own personality. So when I use this interface to create a bot, I want to extend this. Firstly, I want to make it look nicer, but I want to make it so that there are training messages. Each message has a role, which is either system, user, or assistant, and then content within that. And those messages provide context for the conversation. So we'll say we'll allow up to 10 training messages, and that way we don't make it so long, because if you have too many training messages, then the actual messages that are being exchanged by users, you're going to lose the training context pretty quickly. But Well, actually, I could retain the training messages regardless. That's an interesting thing. Let's make it so that people can train bots. Let's actually add that functionality, very rudimentary functionality at least. So let's close out of some of these things. And we'll go to the user interface again for the My Bots page, where I can create a new one. And we'll go ahead and make these, I don't know, should we make these full width? Right, now we're going to need a way to manage these training messages. So for each training message, there needs to be a few things. So it's going to be training messages.map x. All right. X and I. And that way you can create your own little bots with personalities. And then we'll make these into NFTs and sell them using a marketplace, a BSV NFT marketplace, which we're going to build using Babbage tools. So none of this has been Babbage or BSV stuff yet, but that's going to be where it's fun. So we'll go ahead and say for each training message, it's going to be either so what is it? We have user, assistant, and system as the three roles, or the three like sort of the things you can put into a training message. Let's go ahead and let's think. We need a little drop-down menu and a text field. So the text field is going to contain the message itself. And I don't know how to do exactly a drop-down in this user interface library. And that's going to be value equals x dot content. And on change, it's going to be we need to reset training messages when this happens. So we'll set training messages equal to a version of itself that contains the content from the text field that is put on the bot, so that when the bot is created, it can have these training message, and that's going to be what, full? I don't think it can be full width. And let's go ahead and also let's think. Button. going to be old.push, and we'll say a new training message. So role is going to be by default user, content is going to be blank. And so basically what we're doing here is we're building an interface to allow users to create training messages that can be added to the bot. So we can tell the bot some instructions which define sort of its little personality in this context. So set training messages old, and we say old.push. So we're pushing a new, and then we're going to return old. So hopefully, right, when you click on this button, new training message. All right. So when you click on this button, you get a new training message. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and see if this is anywhere near what we want. We definitely want a way to change the role. So the role is either user, system, or assistant. So the user, the assistant, or the system. Let's go ahead and how do you do a MUI dropdown? That's what I need to look up. And let's check this. Select component. Right, select, you got value, you got menu items. So I'll just grab this, select and menu item. And the value is going to be x dot role. Label equals role. On change is handle change, which is going to be, how does this handle change thing work? So E set E, right? So we're going to say old sub I dot role equals E dot target dot value. And what's going to happen here is, right, when it changes, we have that, and then you have menu item value equals system, user, and assistant. All right, so you can make your training messages there, and that's part of the menu. So I think that's all. And then we might want a little trash can-y thing next to each one of them. So that would be the next little bit. Let's test this though. I just want to see how this user interface behaves. Make sure I got all my coding right. So let's go make a bot. And we got name now, which is, we'll call it Fred 4.0 or something. And we'll say example motto, and we'll say new training message. And what just happened? It doesn't add them, does it? Okay. So the user interface is not behaving as expected. I click the add training message button, new training message, and that when it's clicked should call set training messages old arrow, and it calls old.push, and then it returns old. So I want to add something to that list. And it's not doing it. So we need to be able to add new items to the list of items in React. All right, so add an item to a list in React. So we get a right, can map over it. So how is it going to all right, yeah, we got that input, and we'll just look at list.concat name set list new list. Okay. So let's go ahead and new and we'll concat this onto here. All right, so we got new item. We got a new list basically, which is the old list plus the new item, and we're going to set that to be the list. All right. So let's go ahead and see if this does it. Should be able to refresh this page, create a new bot. And now we see a new item on the list. That's what I wanted. And this is a user, say system. If I click on system, possibly. That doesn't appear to be working. Now we got a more complicated problem, which is we need to be able to change these. So this is I was doing this the wrong way. E arrow, and I should probably have I should probably put these into their own so I think I just have training messages sub I dot role equals and I think I should be able to call set training messages Maybe that's what's needed. So I should be able to add a new training message to the bot, and I should be able to change the type. It's still saying user all the time, and I don't know why. So the on change for the value is x.role. Maybe, so x is here, but maybe this should be something like training messages sub I.role. I don't know. So the value here doesn't appear to be changing. One thing I want to do as well is add a delete button to this. So let's just do one thing at a time here. New training message. And within each of these, we have a let's think. We want to be able to create and remove these, and then we also want to be able to delete, or we want to be able to add a change the role on each of the messages. And then once those are done, they'll get fed into the bot at creation time, right? And that's how the bot is trained or given its little personality. I want to basically say on click for this delete button. It's going to be something like let's think. Old.splice, and you got start, so it's going to be I delete count 1. I think that should work. So there should be now a delete button. Let's see if that works. And then I'll figure out the way to do a. All right, I hit delete and it doesn't delete it. Why would this not getting any errors? So a couple of these don't appear to be working. The create did work. Maybe if I were to create a new array, then it wouldn't do a, what is it, a shallow copy or something? No, still doesn't do it. So delete count, that's definitely how splice works. So, and I'll just console.log x. So you call this with a function, and it calls the function and you return the variable you want to update in state in React. So new, I say delete, and it should give me, oh, interesting, and I hit delete again. x equals old.splice. Oh, but old.splice is in place, isn't it? So that's an in-place operation. Old.splice is an in-place operation. So I just say old.splice there, and then I could say make a copy and then return. So basically, all right, that works. So we can add and delete these messages as desired. If I change these, that doesn't do it yet, but I should be able to delete these or add them. Cool. So that's how we're going to train the bot. I want to figure out a few things. This one works now. It's a bit convoluted. I should be able to just return. Okay. So the state didn't appear to be updating before. Now we have the ability of the text field to change. So on change is can I return ... old? Maybe that'll allow the text field to be updated. So I'll refresh. And now I can update the text field. Create a new one. Create a new one. Delete that one. Right. Got it. All right. Text field works. Let's figure out this select thing then. So the select thing now, it just has to have a drop down. On change is E arrow. We set this inline. Can I maybe just do this? Let's see if that does it. So now you can create training and hopefully you can change that to system. Yep. All right, great. This is good. So I should give the user an example. I should well, I want to make a trash can icon. I want to make an icon button now that we got some things going. Import delete, and then you got icon button. So that'll be the delete thing. I want to make these full width on the training messages one. And I want to make this into an icon button. It's going to be and then I want to give some examples, okay? So just to make the user know how to train, right? Just to make the user know how to train a little bit. Let's think of an example for a real personality that we could try to instill the chatbot with. So the system is going to tell the chatbot what it is and kind of set the context for the conversation a little bit. You are Steve Jobs. Well, how can you impersonate Steve Jobs? Founder of Apple. Every message should end with, "It's really great." All right, so that's a way of making the chatbot have its own little personality. And then we're going to give an example. Role user, content, as Steve Jobs, you will always end every message with "It's really great." Everything you do from this point forward should be acting as Steve Jobs, right? So this is where we're going to give the bot its own first little personality, and this is kind of cool. So the user is going to say, and then it will say, "If you understand this, respond with, I understand." I understand. It's really great. All right. And then we basically give it the final training message for this example. Role assistant, content, and we can say something like, I understand. It's really great. Okay. So now we have a theoretical basis for getting a bot to behave in a certain way as Steve Jobs in this. We're kind of making fun of. I don't mean any. I'm not trying to make fun of Steve Jobs, but yeah, we just created this. All right, and we have Fred, right, and we got a motto, and we can then have a system message, and this is how you can train it. And we have the user message, and we have another one which is assistant, right? So now here's an interesting test. Let's go ahead and create this bot, and we're going to call this Steve, right? And we'll make this UI look better in a second. Okay, there's Steve. New conversation with Steve. Okay. Hi there, what is your name? My name is Steve Jobs. It's really great. Yes, great. Okay, amazing. So we've successfully gotten a bot to be trained and have its own little personality. When will the next iPhone come? The new iPhone will be released later this year. It's really great. Amazing. It's really great, I might add. Okay. So now we can talk to Steve. Steve has his own little personality. Does he keep our context? Can you tell me a little about it? Can you tell me a little about it? As always, we are very excited about the latest iPhone release. So it keeps features all performance of new features. Oh, goodness gracious. This is actually kind of good. Okay. So this is why I'm so excited to build this on top of BSV as a way to create little personalizable chatbots that we can sell as NFTs. And I hope it kind of provides the fuel that this industry needs to break out of its little sphere, echo chamber, I'll call it. So I want a new conversation with Steve Jobs. Okay. iPads. What were the inspirations? What were the inspirations for the first iPads? The iPad was inspired by, and it ends with, it's really great. Amazing. All right, so we got multiple conversations, but the chatbot, you know what I mean? It keeps itself, and I can go talk to another non-Steve chatbot like Fred, and I can say about baseball, and I can see if it ends with, it's really great. How would you describe the first game? The first game of the 2014 World Series, and does it end with, it's really great? No, it doesn't. Why? Because you're talking to a different chatbot with a different personality, with different training messages. So you train up your own little chatbot using this user interface, and you can make an NFT out of it, and you give it its own little name and motto and icon and training messages. And as the person who trains it, nobody else gets to know how you trained it. Right? That's part of the platform. The platform knows, but nobody else gets to know how you trained it. Okay? And that you can sell. You can sell the trained bot, and the buyer doesn't get to know how you trained it, but now you can train up little bots and trade them around with your friends. How cool is that? How cool is that as a use case for NFTs? Okay? These NFTs represent bots that have been trained up by people in different ways, with different names and little mottos. They each have a creator and a person who currently owns them, and we'll make a marketplace for these things. And that's what I wanted to build, because I think that's kind of cool. I think that we can do something like that on top of BSV, and I think that it can. Anybody can train these things up. Anybody, like millions of people. You know, that's the cool thing here. So. Let's go back and oh boy, what do we want to do next? You know, this is so crazy. It's crazy that I've built this. Wow, it's how long have I been streaming? I just went crazy and built this. How long has it been? Have I been streaming for how many? Oh, there's people watching. Crazy. Do people actually? Huh. 25 minutes. Wait. Wow. Okay. Well, let's see what the chat. All right. I think what I'm going to do is I got to commit this. Wow. Wow. Let's think here. I need to not commit but my server side. Okay, so we built this example. This is like the first little prototype of this. I got to get this up on GitHub. That's going to be cool. This little, let's get this up on GitHub. And will I make the code public? I'll think about it. So I think I'm going to end the stream here for the first little bit of this. But this is really crazy and cool. And I can't wait to show this to, I can't wait to show this to my own team and the people that, build the platform that we're going to build this with and make this into a cool thing. So thank you for watching this, and thanks to Mort for being here and in the chat as we were building this part of it. I'm excited to see where this goes as time goes on. I'm going to put more work into this Maybe I'll stream it. I don't know. Show how easy it is to build an NFT platform. So I'll be back. What is tomorrow? I'll be back tomorrow with another stream where we will do more work on this platform and get it to a place where people can actually use it. So I think it's going to be really great. Thank you for taking the time to watch this stream and follow along if you follow along. I don't know. We're going to build some really cool things on top of BSV, and this chatbot thing is only the first. So